finally welcome back to another episode of the Men in Scoring Position podcast. I, if you don't remember, am your resident runner on second, Bill Kyrus, joined, as always, by the handsome runner on third, Travis Benz. Travis, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Missed you. Guys, we are back. We are the Men in Scoring Position. I know we've been kind of false promising on and off every episode. We just had a good meeting, and we're back. We are back. We're going to structure some things. We're going to have some fun. Football's a lot of sports coming up. That being
structured fun.
Structured fun. We're going to have fun. That being said, guys, you can find us on any one of our social media platforms, Facebook, SoundCloud, iTunes, all self-titled Men in Scoring Position. You can find us on Twitter, Snapchat, Men in Scoring POS. You can email us your thoughts, comments, general overall points of view at meninscoringpod@gmail.com. And then you can also find any one of our uploads or episodes on YouTube, which we're going to try stressing a lot. Watch us. Look how handsome Billy is. Speaking of Billy, what do they always need to do?
Rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend.
A plethora.
A cornucopia, if you will. Oh, yeah, you're the runner on third because you're always about to score. That's the joke.
It's okay. That's what we do. It's okay. It's football. You know, you gotta knock off the rust of the pads. You gotta knock off the rust of the intros. It's all right. Speaking of knocking off some pads, knocking off some rust.
That's what I was gonna do. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, was that a good? That's a good segue, right?
Perfect segue.
Not a bad segue. You know, for those of you who are just tuning in, or if you guys need an update, my lovely co-host, can I say lovely, manly?
Nope, lovely's fine.
Sexy. Is a diehard Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, and for those of you who are football nerds, as we are, you will know about a little show called Hard Knocks on HBO, and they are featuring who's that, Bill?
Buccaneers.
That's right, with famous Jameis. What do you think about the show thus far?
I'm liking it. I think it hasn't. I know it's only 2 episodes in, but I haven't seen any Levante David, which is a little weird.
Okay.
I haven't seen any O.J. Howard, who was our first-round draft pick. But I get what they're doing, and they're focusing around Gerald McCoy, who I think is a bigger personality than Levante David. Levante David is, for those who don't know, he's our weak side linebacker. He's probably the best weak side linebacker in the game. He's like a 93, 94 on Madden, for those who don't know. Like, he's that level. But he's just not a very vocal leader, and Bill McCoy is just a very gregarious, funny, smart.
Nice guy, by the way. Like, it seems like everything, good father, and he's like fun and
And I like the fact they're showing that about him. I just think him and Quan Alexander are just 2 guys we haven't seen just yet, so I think they're going to be focused maybe a little more going on, because you had to get Jameis's backstory on there. And you're noted that you watched the first episode, and like the first couple minutes are Jameis going back to his family home or whatever you want to call that, where he grew up.
Yeah, it's definitely eye opening for those of you who didn't see the episode. Oh, I'm sorry, Bill. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, I am not a wealthy man, but I'm looking in my apartment right now in Chicago. And the bedroom that he showed is about roughly the size of my bedroom. And he was saying at one point 7 people lived in that bedroom.
Yeah.
7 people.
And I think he was saying even to the date, like, it's still commonplace.
Yeah, it's something else, man. And it's like, when these kids, and they make it good and they make it big, and like, yeah, they make dumb decisions. It's like, well, you get a sense of how they grew up and the struggles that they had, and it's like it's like you kind of can forgive them for little incidents.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crab legs.
No, I think I texted you right as I saw the episode, and I was like, wow, man. I mean, he really came from pretty much, he was probably rich in love, but I mean, he came from nothing, and it's definitely cool to see him like go first overall the NFL, because I think like you're guaranteed like $20 million or something when you get first overall pick.
And I don't know if you saw this latest one, but in the preseason game for the Bengals, he literally went to every player on the team before the game and it was like, I have your back, I love you. I have your back, I love you. I have your back, I love you. I have your, like, to every single player. So Roberto,
and they haven't even made cuts yet. You know what I mean? That's a lot of I love yous.
Like, even like Roberto Aguayo, everybody on the team, I have your back, I love you. And I really like to see that. And whether, you can be a cynic and say that's for the cameras, but I like his attitude. I think the team has adopted his attitude, excuse me.
Yeah.
And it's like, even when we're down 21-3, I'm still like, okay, like, we'll be all right. Like,
right.
He's pressure. He loves his teammates. His teammates love him.
Yeah.
That's his.
They do seem to have like good personalities on that team. Like if I may be so bold, like I don't know, obviously I don't know any of these guys, but throughout his career, Deshaun Jackson had a little taint because he grew up in like Compton and he had all this, this gang affiliation. He's like, dude, I've never been arrested. I've never been in trouble. When he was hanging out at the poolside or whatever, he brought that up.
He also twice threw the ball away before running into the end zone.
Right. But then you got guys like we were talking about earlier, Joe McCory, who I've always liked. I've always thought was a great football player. But then what really hit me more than anything, kind of like almost as a ton of bricks, it's almost like that Pat Tillman-esque, like these stories you hear. But they had a video of him, and then they interviewed him afterwards, where he was carrying new guys, like rookies' pads, like multiple pads. Yeah. Now, I don't know about you, but like I played a little bit of like middle school, high school football. There's no fucking way. If I was like a senior, like, hell yeah, you do. It's a rite of passage, an initiation. But some guys just operate differently. And his reasoning didn't even make sense to me. I think his reasoning in particular was like, yeah, any way I can help the team, or some like really like flowery, like very, very like nice, way too nice for me mindset, and I was just like, you're a fucking superstar, man.
And that's the funny thing is about nowadays, is that we mock sincerity, and he might just be a sincere dude who's a good guy, and we're used to Hard Knocks where they tape the rookies to the goalpost and they dump water on them. And
right.
And McCoy's like, no, man, like, you're family now. Like, you got my back, I got your back. And,
right.
and I think that's McCoy. I think that's Winston, and I think that's the front office and Dirk Cutter. And like, I think I'm really liking the direction in which the team's going.
Yeah, Dirk Cutter. He said some things in that first episode, because to be 100% transparent, I didn't even realize the second episode came out. I'm gonna have to watch that right as I get done with this episode. But he was saying things like he had that whole rocket ship speech. For those of you who didn't hear it, he was like, there's a lot of work that goes in on the ground and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, his analogy was not corny. It was like, whoa, that was a well thought out and articulate speech, my friend. Like, good job.
With Dirk Cutter and Mike Smith, these are guys who've been in the NFL for 15, 20 plus years. And they know what they're talking about. And
30 years of experience between the two of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of experience on the Falcons, but
yeah. No, I mean, it's tough because both of our franchises. I'm a diehard Bears fan, and you're a big Bucks fan, and it's like, we have one of the most loyal fan bases, and sometimes like you almost accept mediocrity. When I see like an organization like the Pittsburgh Steelers or the New England Patriots, it's like they don't do that shit. So it's like, I don't know if we've grown accustomed to kind of liking, like, good guys. It's like Belichick, half the guys he cuts are Pro Bowl good guys, and it's like, okay, so when does that stop mattering? I don't know. I get in my own head about it. It's like, do I have a loser's mentality, sometimes, like when I think about my franchise and my beloved teams, like, because these are the teams you want to aspire to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, I don't know where I'm particularly going with this, but I will say that, it's like, well, I really like this kid, and even though he throws 4 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, he's got a good heart, and he tells my players that I love him, and blah 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, that's all fun and dandy. I'd like to have a beer with the guy, but it's like, fuck, can he get it done?
Yeah.
You get what did you guys go last year? 8-8 or like, what was it?
9-7.
9-7, right? And you made it into the playoffs. No, you didn't make it in the play. Yeah, that's a tough division. Yeah, you guys have a.
Yeah, and it was Jameis's second year?
Second year, yeah. So that's promising with a newer head coach, right?
Third year, second year. No,
Well, when did you guys fire Lovey?
He's still super young. I think that defense was a work in progress. I think Mike Smith has turned it around into something that's okay. And I think adding Deshaun Jackson, adding O.J. Howard, still retaining Cam Brate, still with Mike Evans, who is a goddamn – he's a savage.
That's a big boy. I knew he was a big body, but I didn't realize it until I saw it in camp, and then I saw him side by side with Deshaun, who's like a little speedster, and it's like, this is a man. Like,
and I love that dynamic, and I love our rookie pick, Chris Godwin, at wide receiver from Penn State. I think he's going to be pretty good. I like Adam Humphries out of the slot.
Yeah.
I like our offensive line. I think it's gotten better. Ali Marpet up there, Joe Howley. I mean, it's a good offense, and I think the defense is living up to the promise the offense is. I mean, especially in preseason, that first string offense. I know it's preseason, but I mean, they shut down the Bengals, and I really like that. And Hargreaves had a pick, and McCoy did really good, and Noah Spence, I think, is coming off the end, is going to be not a breakout, but I could easily see him getting 8 to 10 sacks.
Well, what's the major question mark on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense? It's the secondary, correct?
Yeah, safety and corner.
Yeah, you guys have Conti, though. You should be good. Jesus. Speaking of our franchises making trades that are less than favorable by the fan bases, what the hell did we just pick up that we can still cut, which I'm really excited about? We didn't give up anything for him, which is great. But you're trading up second overall pick. How do you say it, Robert?
Okay, first of all, it's Roberto Aguayo.
Roberto Aguayo.
Let me take the next minute or.
Please, by all means, you have the platform, my brother.
Okay. First of all.
Oh God, yes, he's getting defensive. This must not be good.
No. We did trade up into the second round to pick him up. However, we addressed 2 needs already before that in cornerback at Brendan Hargreaves and defensive end at the aforementioned Noah Spence. Now, we traded up to get the kicker because we lost Connor Barth, who was a franchise kicker before that. You're welcome for that. But we were understanding, and Jason Lick was understanding the fact that the extra point had moved back from the 1-yard line to where it is now. Now, the percentage from the extra point went from about 98 to the mid-80s. Roberto Aguayo, who is the most accurate kicker in NCAA history, was about 88 to 90% from that range.
Right. No, he tried to moneyball it, and money blew up in his face, right?
He fucking blew the load in his face.
So what happened? Now, what is the history with Aguayo again? Now, he has some mental illness, right, or something like that, or like the pressure the NFL got to him, and he had to
I think it was just the pressure, man. It was. And you see the dude, and he looks like a fucking scared cat, and it's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with him as a man. He's just
not one.
No, that's not what I'm saying. He just doesn't have the ice mentality to shut it out. I'm not saying clutch.
Yeah, no. I mean, I've seen guys like that. I think we've all seen guys like that where they just cannot get it done. It comes down to that. Okay, so you and I differ on this. For those of you who don't know, Bill does not believe in clutch. I do. To me, I think it's a form of clutch.
Overrated. That's my byline. I think clutch is overrated.
Overrated? Yeah, I would agree with you on to a certain degree. Absolutely. It's just it's fascinating to me that certain guys literally just freeze up, and just cannot get the job done. And it's like, fuck, man. How?
They say at the very end. Excuse me. I'm so sorry for burping. Jason licked the.
You should be. Fucking animal.
He cuts Aguayo, and in it he goes. Nick Folk is the guy who we signed. He's the old Jets kicker.
Yeah, I like him. Solid pickup.
So Jason Lick goes, even if Nick Folk misses a bunch of kicks in practice, I still have confidence he's going to make it in the game. Whereas if Roberto goes 5 for 5 or 20 for 20 and in practice, I don't feel confident in him kicking a field goal.
He said that? He said that to the press?
No, that's what he said. He was talking to Dirk Cutter, but it's filmed. So he knows it's filmed.
Yeah, no, I mean, hey, what are you going to do? I don't understand what the Bears organization is so fascinated with picking up like kickers from you guys.
It is what it is. Yeah. I mean, if you turn it around, he's very talented. He's very good. But if he can't, it'll
be a sad story.
$100,000.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think also like with the Bears too, like we're so blessed to have had Robbie Gould for however many years, 12, 13 years. And, he's technically the all-time points leader for the Chicago Bears. When you think about how long of a history the Chicago Bears have had, like, that's insane. I mean, Gould will never have to buy a drink in this town ever again. Like, he is the man. And a fucking kicker. You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool. I can only think of, like, me. What's that?
Will they say Robbie Gould or Robbie Gould when they buy him a drink?
We say Gould. Even though it's Gould, like, we just say Gould. But it's like, goddamn, if you say Jonathan Toes, like, it's Taze, you son of a bitch. So, yeah, you know what? Real quick, too, like, we don't have a magnifying glass on us right now with the whole Hard Knocks series, but I will say that I am excited about the Chicago Bears this season. As I've been stating throughout the previous years, it's a rebuilding process. It's a 3-4 year process for all, like, the varicose vein dads that I always go after. I'm like, be patient. I really think that we're going to go 6-10, 8-8 this year, which is okay in my opinion. I'm fine with that. I truly am, because we still need areas of improvement from where we were. You don't realize how bad Phil Emery and Mark Trestman fucked our franchise. Like, they fucked us for 10 years. If we can get this done in 5 years, I'm happy. It's not an overnight thing. Or we're just going to be the Cleveland Browns, and just continue to fuck up. But they go after your guy, Mike Glennon, who we bring in, and he seems like he's got, all the mechanics. We trade up, we get Mitchell Trubisky, second overall pick. Kid looked really good. In one quarter of the first preseason, everybody calmed down. My nickel and dime theory, it's not to defend what John Fox and Ryan Pace are doing. My nickel and dime theory is centralized. It's the focus on Mike Glennon. Mike Glennon, to me, is an easy target. And I don't think anybody's addressing that. The guy's 6'6". He's a ginger. He's bald and refuses to. No, just let me finish. He's bald but doesn't shave his head. He's got a really weak chin. He's just an easy, and he's really kind of like dopey with the Adam's apple that like sticks out. And he's just like, he just sits on the sideline, and instead of keeping his helmet on, he just holds on like a fucking jaded cop to like his little bulletproof vest, and everybody's like, this guy sucks. Meanwhile, you got this good-looking kid out of Carolina that's like, he's Polish, he's kind of handsome, he's like, he's throwing touchdowns, and it's like, and he's a second overall pick, and you're like, fuck Glennon. And it's like, I kind of feel bad for Mike Glennon right now. Like, even if I know he's not the franchise, he's just such an easy target. The guy is like, look at that fucking dopey dude. But if Trubisky walks in the room, like, that guy's fucking my girlfriend. And he's the starting quarterback of the Chicago Bears. It was
a Dave Damashek. He's a podcast. He was talking about like the quarterbacks that look most like they could play quarterback, like as in like if you're casting a film, like who would play quarterback?
Right.
Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, and they're like, who's the least likely? And they're like, Mike Glennon. He looks like he's bagging your groceries at Trader Joe's. Like,
seriously, or he should be like some like failed golf pro that never really made it, but has like a weirdly hot European girlfriend.
And he's also getting paid $18 million this year to do a sport that like he's better at than 99% of the population.
Right. Like he's in the upper echelons of like what's 32 times 3. Like those are that's the only people in the world that have that profession. You know what I mean? Like, so what? 96 people in the world do what he does. At a professional level for this particular organization.
It's funny. I think it is funny how with. And the Cubs have been pretty good lately, but with the vacuum that is the summer months, like how it's shifted in Chicago from after one fucking quarter from.
Oh, dude, it's insane. He's the future. Yeah, it's. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
We hate him. We hate it. We hate it. We hate it. I can't believe this. To like, oh, we're gonna be okay.
Isn't that insanity? Do you see what I deal with? Like, I feel like I'm in a twilight zone. Everybody's like, oh, blah, 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 like the Bears suck. I'm like, of course the Bears suck. Previous organizations have fucked us for 20 years. We'll be lucky if we get out of this in a decade. And we're even somewhat competitive, you fucking cunts.
saw, and we're going to get into fantasy in just a minute.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What was your question?
No, I was going to say Matthew Berry put the Bears' defense is the 31st as far as his ranking for defense and special teams in fantasy, and I think that's kind of silly.
No, it's highly accurate. It's really accurate. We got nobody on defense, man.
You got Floyd in Houston and
Lamar Houston is. You're thinking of him in the Raiders. Eddie Goldman, he's pretty much non-existent. Kyle Fuller's coming back from injury. I can't name any of our linebackers outside of Jarrell Freeman, and it's just like when you we have pretty much no secondary. I mean, we're not good. Like, our defensive line is our strongest suit, and I might be able to name like 3 guys.
I feel like you're reverse jinxing them now at this point. I feel like you're trying to put some negative juju, so it's positive.
No, dude. It's just like, dude, we're the Bears. We've always had a defense. You know what I mean? And we tried so hard in the Trestman era to get away from it, and then now we're in it. But Vic Fangio is a good defensive coordinator. We just don't have the talent. We just don't. Like, I've seen talented defenses. I know talented guys outside of Leonard Floyd and Kyle Fuller, and they're both kind of question marky. You know what I mean? Like, they're still relatively unproven, and I think in Kyle Fuller's case, possibly plateaued. So it's just one of those things where, I mean, unless we get some major free agent signings and plug up some major holes, I mean, we're going to get ran shot, and they're going to tear us up over the top, and they're going to tear us up in our strongest attribute would probably be plugging up the middle. And I think that we're even going to get shoved down our throats on that. So to say 31st might be brutal. I'm hoping for early 20s, but we're definitely not a top 15 defense by any means.
You're making this way too easy for me. From a man who knows his talented D, plugging up the middle and shoving things down his throat. Travis,
listen, dude, your balls are going to go up the middle. They're going to go over the top. I mean, I'm going to get pounded. Just absolutely just face fucked. It's going to be it's going to be rough. I'm going to be sore. I think a lot of guys are going to get sore. Oh man, I know. What's next? So you were saying, this is going to be a lighter podcast today. You know, we're still getting our feet wet, but I think you and I both wanted to talk a little bit, kind of start getting ready for that fantasy football talk, right?
Yeah. Is that our intro? Is that going to be?
No. I don't know why I did that. I kind of feel like Paul Rudd in I Love You, Man, where he's like, all right, you got it, Jobin.
Job. No, I like it.
Mom and she.
I
don't know.
Latest on the Benjis.
Latest on the Benji.
So I thought in the next few weeks, like I said at the beginning, we're going to get a little more in depth on this. I thought at the very least, so we talk a little about our experience with fantasy football, our little tidbits, little draft day ideas, and maybe break down a few of the top 5 at certain positions. So Travis, can I ask you, how long have you been doing fantasy football?
I think this will be my 7th year. Yeah.
That's about the same for me.
Yeah.
And what's your success?
I actually, I don't know about my credibility now. I've actually never won. I've never actually won, but I have gotten to the finals multiple times.
You can lie and say you won once.
I've won all 7. I'm the best that there ever was.
I was about to say me 7 for 7, dude.
Yeah, dude. Listen, I don't even know why they entered my league. You might as well just give me money, you know. But I feel like I'm like the fucking black sheep of the past 3 years. Like last year, all 3 of my first round draft picks out for injury for like 6 weeks. I was like, fuck, you know. So, what about you?
Well, bad luck. I do okay. I mean, usually in a couple leagues a year. I usually do well in one, and I will admit I'm usually middle of the pack or horrible in the other 2 because I usually spend more time.
It's a lot of work, guys. I mean, don't think that if you're a new fantasy football player or a returning fantasy football player, you might have a little. I mean, this is a full-time job. I mean, if you're not on top of it, especially in the aggressive leagues, let's say like 12 men or higher, or like a higher stakes money league, I would highly advise, and I think Billy, you're with me on this. Do some mock drafts. Really, sure. You know, I mean, look at different forums too. I mean, if you're in, like, for instance, if you're on an ESPN platform or a Yahoo Sports platform, look at the competitor's platform and see like what they're projecting. You know, because I've looked at probably at least 5 or 10 different projections, and they've got everybody going first from Le'Veon Bell to David Johnson to ODB. I've got Tom Brady at 4 in a couple of them. So, I mean, it just depends on how you play your league, if you're PPR, so on and so forth. So.
Sure, absolutely. And I will say that most of our conversations, what we're talking about is a 10 or 12 man league that's usually going to be PPR, ESPN standard scoring.
Yeah.
Now, I will say that if you are listening to this and you are a fantasy football player, I understand how frustrating it can be. I was in a league last year in which, and I could start all 4 of these guys at my wide receivers. I had Antonio Brown, Jordy Nelson, Mike Evans, Doug Baldwin, and Jimmy Graham, and I could play all of those guys, and I still lost in the playoffs, as opposed to a team where I started Matt Moore as my quarterback in the finals, I won.
Yeah, I put in Brian Hoyer last year for one game, and he got, I think, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and 300-plus yards, so he was like a solid 22 points. And that was sheer gut instinct and matchup.
It's silly, and I understand the frustration. So what are a few ideas or a few, you don't have to give too much away, maybe broad strokes that you have?
If I had like 3 major...
During the draft.
Yeah, during my draft, I have 3 major. Assuming, okay, so let's do this. We're gonna do a PPR league snake draft, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Which is pretty standard.
And scoring.
Yeah. So like, if you're doing a snake draft, for those of you who don't know, it's where you go across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then it snakes back around.
The snake. There it is, baby. That's
look at this. Oh yeah. So when it snakes around, if you're first, you're like, fuck yeah, but then you got to wait 24 till it comes back. So,
yeah.
So my thing is one, stop listening to the old, like, quarterbacks don't matter. I couldn't more strongly disagree with that. Do I think that you want to waste a top 5, top 10 pick on that? Maybe, maybe not, probably not. But in today's NFL, like, there are maybe 5 to 10 running backs that are going to carry the workload for you. After that, you got to start scrounging for tight ends and quarterbacks. That is my number one advice to anybody. Back in the day, it used to be like, you'd see these forums, even Sports Illustrated like a year ago had this whole thing on like, wait till like the 8th round till you draft your quarterback. And now I'm like, that is just fucking dumb. That is just not smart, and I do not agree with that. And I don't know if, Billy, you share my sentiment on that, but that would be my number one advice. Don't shy away from quarterbacks. I had 2 seasons ago, Carson Palmer, everybody wrote him off. He was a solid average, like 27 to 30 points a game for me, which was almost more than or equal to Odell Beckham Jr., who I had, who's the number 1, number 2 guy. You know what I mean? So, Bill, what about you? Do you have any kind of...
You want to do all 3, or you just want to do the first one?
We could go back and forth, or just pop it out whenever. I mean, I could keep going if you need.
Okay, so my number one thing is you can wait on a quarterback.
Really?
That they're, especially this year, I think they're rather deep. I think you can wait for a guy like a Phillip Rivers, future Hall of Famer.
Oh my God,
I think
Jesus!
You can wait for a Tyrod Taylor or
Tyrod Taylor. He was a bum.
Derek Carr.
Kirk
Cousins. I think you wait for guys like that, in the 5th round, 6th round. I think Cam Newton's really undervalued this year. I think Russell Wilson's undervalued this year. I would say you can wait on a quarterback.
Oh, man, this is going to be an interesting season. See, we've been stroking each other a little too much this podcast, too. I mean, it's time to get like, wait, what do you mean? You're fucking full of shit. What were those guys out of New York? God, the guys who pioneered it all. Yeah, Mad Dog and Mike. Yeah.
Okay. I think I texted you this.
No, you didn't.
I did. Because I love you. I text you every day. I say, hey, how are you?
No, that's a lie. That is a fucking lie.
They did a show together, the radio show, for 5.5 hours a day, 5 days a week, and they went 2 months without
talking to each other. Yeah, you saw that. What was it? A 30 for 30, right?
To each other.
Dude, I'm not going to lie. You and I have had our blow-ups, and I feel like after maybe 3 days, I'd be like, dude, this is dumb. I love you. I'm sorry.
It'd be like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
like,
20 minutes, you're right. It depends on the severity of the situation. Wasn't it over something petty like a Passover on a job opportunity or some nonsense?
No, you didn't stop hitting me in the dick.
No. I'm talking about their thing. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Listen, guys, that's a whole nother story for another day. But anybody who's got friends with a guy, I mean, Doty taps are a thing. Some people are sensitive, some people aren't. I mean, it's fair game. He could have hit me in the dick. He just chose not to. And I'm the fucking bad guy. Whatever. We did a Rumpelman shot and we called it a day.
I forget exactly what that was over, but I couldn't imagine working with someone and having chemistry and talking to them. And I mean, like, there's people that I work with now that I'm not a big fan of, and I have a really hard time not showing my displeasure. But then again, you know me, I'm not very good at hiding my emotions and my feelings.
Life's too short. If I don't like somebody, they're going to know it. You know, either by body language or verbally, like directly, like right in front of them.
Anyway, all right, number 2. What's your number 2?
Number 2? Let me think. For fantasy football advice, definitely the mock drafts. Do mock drafts. If you care about your league, if you care about winning, it's homework. It's studying. It's note cards. It's cramming before a final. Do some mock drafts. It doesn't take very long. And because once you do it, and especially like I know for the leagues that we've been in, Bill, we do them live. I mean, once it's done, it's done. You know, there's
do it live.
You know, just go. You know what? Like, just do something like where your adrenaline's pumping. Like, hold a venomous scorpion, and then like do your fucking draft. You know what I mean?
You know, like in James Bond, that whatever, where he's drinking the shot with the scorpion on him.
That's right. What about you, number 2?
Number 2 is, I would say, in a PPR league, if you can't get a top 3 or top 4 running back, go wide receiver. Just keep pounding wide receiver, and then wait for a dual threat running back later on, because I think there's about 5, maybe 8 running backs that have the majority of their carries on the team, and every other team they split share. And there are certain running backs that you get that are primarily receiving running backs. I think in a PPR league, a guy like Charles Sims, my favorite was I would always wait, and I'd get Darren Sproles and Reggie Bush. That would always wait, and I'd get them late. Because I think a running back out of the backfield, especially now with specialization of the third down running back, you can wait in a PPR league for those types of players, especially those that you know are going to be third down receiver. Like McCaffrey's a good, Jerry McNichols. I know he's also on the Bucs, but Tevin Coleman, guys like that are primarily receiving backs, I think you can wait for.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, I would agree with you on that one. My third and final one. I got a couple of them, but I want to leave on a funny note. Especially for PPR, don't throw all your eggs in one basket when it comes down to the New England Patriots. I know a lot of people get really excited to get like Julian Edelman or Danny Amendola. These guys, they're going to be really, really hot one game, and then they might get you like 5-10 point. They're usually like good 10-point guys. But in terms of them being like the Julio Jones, Antonio Browns, Odell Beckhams, it's just not going to happen because Tom Brady distributes the ball too much. And you want to take into consideration. You want guys that have like breadbasket targets. What I will say, though, is to kind of like, tack onto that is if you can get like an elite tight end, and there's maybe 2 or 3 in the league, Jimmy Graham, Rob Gronkowski, and Jordan Reed. Who else?
Travis Kelce, Greg Olsen.
Yeah, Greg Olsen, Travis Kelce. Those guys are good, like, 3rd round, 4th round security blankets if they're still available. Rob Gronkowski being the exception. I think you take Rob when you can if all else options are exasperated and he's healthy. Just because he's so dominant.
Man among boys.
And now that Martellus Bennett is gone, I mean, I don't see how you could lose that situation, So, what about you, third and final?
I would say don't draft anyone from the Browns.
Yeah, that was going to be my thing, but then I thought about Josh Gordon a couple of years ago, and he fucking lit it.
I don't trust anyone on the Browns. I never trust a Saints wide receiver.
Saints wide receiver, classic. That's another one. Never.
Never
bet against the Giants in a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
Or never bet against the Giants to like get into the Super Bowl.
draft anyone on the Jets this year.
Dude, fuck. Yeah. And be wary of the Jaguars, too, man. There's something going on down there right now that is just not good. And anytime I, get a Mercedes Lewis or an Alan Hearns or a Chris Ivory or a Toby Gerhardt, it's just not – it never pans out. I just think that organization needs to get blown up from the top.
What is it? Who's the good one? Is it Hearns or Robinson? Whoever the good one was.
They're both pretty equal, I would say. But
good 2 years ago, who averaged 17 yards a catch. It was something crazy where he had 30 catches of 20 yards or more, or something silly like that.
Yeah.
And then last year he had 2 catches, just because Bortles was so bad with his accuracy.
Yeah.
It's a scary issue down there when it comes to Jacksonville wide receivers. And
yeah, there's some dumpster fires, man. I'm really excited to kind of break those down this year for sure.
We're gonna get, I said, more in depth. I thought we just do a quick top 5 certain positions. Do you want to do quarterback, running back, wide receiver? Do you want to do just one of those, or what are you thinking?
I'll piggyback you, man. I'm good with whatever. I mean, we can break down whichever ones you want.
Okay.
I would say, just start with the obvious, go quarterback or running back, whatever.
Let's start running back.
Okay.
Because quarterback, I think, they're pretty obvious who are the top 5, I think.
Right.
I think running back, so we got David Johnson.
Yeah.
We got Lev Bell.
Yep.
We got Shady McCoy.
Yeah.
I would say then my next 2, Melvin
Shady
Gordon.
McCoy would be your number 3?
Yep. Melvin Gordon. And
because he's a goal line sniffer?
Jordan Howard.
My man! That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, dude. Okay, a lot of people don't know this about Jordan Howard, but he actually didn't play the first 4 games last year, and I think he was only – I have to double-check this. I could be wrong, but I think he was only about 200 yards off from Ezekiel Elliott with the Dallas offensive line. Now, granted, sophomore slumps, all eyes on him. I just don't see how you can lose because he's a really good runner, and he reminds me a lot of Forte as well. I will take out LaShawn McCoy and put in Todd Gurley. I think that Gurley's going to have a bounce-back year. But I also do think that LA's got some major issues at quarterback. But I think if Jared Goff can step it up and at least facilitate, then that'll allow Gurley to be healthy and kind of do his thing.
I think that's asking a lot of a bad quarterback. I've never liked Jared Goff.
Really? Never liked him in college either, huh?
No, I thought it was bad. I thought their offensive line right now is really bad. I do like the addition of Sammy Watkins, so maybe that'll help. But again,
that was a bizarre trade last minute, I thought.
It was. And this is all saying that all these guys can play 16 games and stay healthy. Because, I'm throwing out to Marco Murray because I'm assuming he's going to miss a few games.
Right.
I'm throwing out.
Well, they still have Derrick Henry back there, too.
Top 5, I'm taking out Zeke Elliott because he's going to miss 6 games. That's the idea right now. If he comes back and only misses 2, he would be in my top 5.
Right. And Bill and I, too, will break down, teams, fantasy, so on and so forth. I mean, that's pretty much all we're going to talk about until October hits because, baseball and...
A few honor rolls. I thought Jay Ajayi of the Dolphins.
He's interesting. He's interesting because he's either ice cold or he is the best running back in the league.
I think with Cutler, I was talking to someone today. My buddy thinks Cutler's going to hurt his stock. I think Cutler's going to help it because you saw the success Matt Forte had with him, and I think Ajayi can fit that role.
I just don't see how. Oh God, Cutler! Fuck. Sum it up in 1 or 2 sentences. The guy should not start for any NFL team ever again. That being said, his best year was with Adam Gase. He can sell a play-action fake, and assuming that Gase is running a similar offense or the same exact offense that he's running, that was a somewhat good year for the offense and the running backs in that offense. And Jay Ajayi has everything to prove, and in terms of, because he was so cold, but then he'd have these just outstanding games. So I would have to agree with you on that. And Gase is a really good coach, man. We were all sad to see him go.
The Dolphins I'm concerned about with Cutler hurting would be Jarvis Landry, because Jarvis Landry is a line of scrimmage or a few yards pass guy. Well, it's like Cutler likes the deeper balls.
No, you're wrong. I'm sorry. He throws the deep ball, and that's what you see on ESPN, but he's a dump-off kind of guy. He's a slants over the middle, out route.
Jarvis Landry up then.
Okay.
I think
I've got like 9 years of film on the guy up here. So
I think Jam Kareem Hunt for the Chiefs. I think he's going to take that starting role. I think he's going to run with it. And Samaje Perine for the Redskins. I think there's two rookies that I really like.
Okay.
You can get later.
Yeah.
Wide receivers in any order besides number one, I think it's, well, I guess number one, number two, it's tough. Antonio Brown, Julio Jones.
Antonio Brown is consistent year on, year out. I mean, until that report ends with Ben Roethlisberger, he's always going to get you 25 points a game.
It's how much better he is with Roethlisberger than he is with Landry Jones.
Right. But I guess, I mean, that's the same for anybody, though. I mean, I don't even know who Eli Manning's backup is.
The guy from Arkansas, the rookie. Nailed it.
There you go, that guy. So, yeah, you got Julio Jones, you got ODB, you got Antonio Brown.
Depending if he's healthy or not, and then Antonio Brown, depending if Roethlisberger is healthy or not. So
I'm worried about those guys up north, man. I think that Jordy Nelson and Aaron Rodgers are going to come back with a fucking vengeance.
I also have Mike Evans, ODB, or whatever.
Oh, dirty bastard.
ODJ. OBJ. What's
Wu-Tang ain't nothing to fuck with.
OBJ. And did I say Mike Evans? If I said Mike Evans, Mike Evans.
Oh, God.
It's Mike Evans.
Mike Evans does make sense.
Mike Evans
makes sense. Yeah, I mean, considering.
Savage, and he's going to be great. AJ Green's always on the cusp right there.
AJ's my dude. I love AJ Green. But Dalton's, I don't know.
He's got a lot of deeper round picks. I think Jarvis Landry's always been my dude when it comes to PPR. I love him.
What about your boy that fucked you in fantasy last year, Keenan Allen?
No, I love Keenan Allen this year. I think those were freak injuries. He had a lacerated spleen. I mean, it is what it is. It was a freak injury. I think when he's on the field, not only are Philip Rivers' numbers ridiculous, but so are his. That first game in which he got hurt, I think he had 9 catches for 100 and something yards in the first half.
Yeah.
And then his ACL.
So I have a question for you, and it might be a little early in the season for this, just to kind of really quickly backtrack. What do you do with number 21 in Dallas? Do you just not do anything, or do we start talking about week 3, week 4?
What do you mean?
Ezekiel Elliott.
No, I mean, but what do you mean? Sorry.
So, like, this guy, Ezekiel Elliott would have been top 5, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But now, with a 6-game suspension, I just remember a 4-game suspension wasn't that big of a deal for Antonio Brown last year. He came back in and fucking lit it up.
That was Antonio Brown.
Or, excuse me, Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
But 6 games is a lot. When you're doing fantasy, I mean, you got, what, 16? You know, so you only have 10 games to really use him, not including bye weeks. Does his draft stock just drop him out of the top 10?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
If you're missing 6 games, dude, I mean, you're third round. You're going to pick up a really good player, I think, in the second or third round.
Yeah, I think it might get reduced to 4 or 5.
That's the thing that you're hoping that's the case. I would even say it should be reduced to 2. I think
for beating the shit out of his girlfriend.
But it is what it is.
And Leonard Fournette doesn't do anything for you.
No, that's what I was gonna say. There's rookies that I like that are later on. These just aren't top 5 guys. I think Fournette's up there. I like Joe Mixon.
Oh, I knew it. Dude, you just got a thing for woman beaters,
hate
bro.
The fact that I like Joe Mixon, but I like Joe Mixon as far as fantasy goes. I'm gonna swallow my pride in that one.
You fantasize
I also
about him?
really, really, really like Dalvin Cook and Christian McCaffrey as far as rookies goes. Although I will be I'm not as high as everyone else on Dalvin Cook because I think it's a terrible offensive line, and I think that offense just doesn't score points. And I think he could get vultured when it comes to the end zone, but I think he also has shoulder issues.
Right. I love Christian McCaffrey, by the way, but the only thing I'm wary about is that they are coming off of a really bad season, and it is a 2-back system. So
And that's the thing is what I said in the very beginning, or like a couple of minutes ago when I was talking about drafting, is that running backs, there's David Johnson, there's Lev Bell, there's Zeke Elliott, there's Todd Gurley, Melvin Gordon. Those are about the five that are the absolute primary backs. They're going to get you 22, 25 carries maybe, and are going to be a big part of the passing offense as well, whereas most other teams, or all the other teams, are a split back system.
Yeah. I will say this. We were on the wide receivers. I will say that with Zeke going out, as much as I really don't care about Dallas at all, I'm kind of biased. I don't care who knows it. I'm not a big fan of that organization as a whole. I think that Dez Bryant's touches go back to being up there.
I think Dez Bryant, Jason Witten, I think they both, their touches both go up. I think Alfred Morris or Darren McFadden, whoever gets that starting job, is going to get you decent points. They're going to get you a lot, but they're going to get you decent points. I just want to go real quick to a couple other rookie wide receivers that I like that are going to be having deep cuts. Zay Jones of the Buffalo Bills. He's their primary target, which is pretty nuts to say, out of ECU.
Okay.
And for the LA Rams, Cooper Kupp out of Eastern Michigan.
Dude, I think you just try to find like the coolest names, and you're like, yep, this guy. This is the guy that I want.
Kupp is a catch machine. I think he's a big wide receiver. I think he's 6'4", 6'5". He also runs over the middle, and he knows how to get open. And I think he can get 100 catches easy this year if Goff can throw the ball 5 yards ahead of him.
Yeah, that's the major. Who's coaching the Los Angeles Rams now?
Sean McVay.
Okay.
The offensive coordinator for the Redskins last year, I believe. He's like 32 years old.
Okay.
Fucking nuts.
All right.
Our age, basically. Yeah.
And guys, we will say this. We are going to be breaking down, I would imagine, probably similar to last year. We're probably going to be breaking down all the divisions, and we're going to be giving fantasy advice. All this here to come. Bill, you and the bandana.
1-15 Cleveland Browns. I want to get that highlight where I said it, and you were like,
"You
what?
find it. You find it. I'll buy you a Cleveland Browns jersey." Oh man, yeah. He goes, yeah. Last year, you go, fuck. They're gonna go 1-15. I'm like, they're not that bad. And this is when they had like Manziel, and they had this whole new thing, and like,
yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, guys! If you've stuck through this podcast, thank you so much. We are the men in scoring position. We'll be giving fantasy advice, football advice, talk about our Cubbies, talk about anything basically you want to. McGregor Mayweather, you name it, we're going to be doing it. You can find us on any one of our social media platforms: Facebook, SoundCloud, iTunes, all self-titled Men in Scoring Position. Find us on Twitter and Snapchat at Men in Scoring POS. Email us any fantasy football questions, any thoughts, comments, general overall points of view to meninscoringpod@gmail.com. This will be uploaded to YouTube tomorrow, August 6th, 17th. So be sure to like that. And then, Bill, what does everybody need to do?
Well, I want you to rate, review, subscribe, and tell a friend.
Tell a plethora of them.
Cornucopia, if you will. But I thought we'd do a quick trivia game.
Oh, okay.
I thought just to end it really quick.
Okay.
You get 3 right. Right.
Before you take a left.
The winner, I guess the loser do 5 push-ups on camera.
Right now?
Yeah, right now.
At midnight?
Yeah, right
now. Oh my God, you suck. All right, holler at your boy.
Okay, you ready? All right, Chicago. We're doing a little Chicago Bulls, Chicago Bears trivia, right?
Okay.
Chicago Bulls. There's 2 men that are basically leaders in every statistic. That'd be Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen. Who is the 3rd all-time in assists for the Chicago Bulls?
In assists?
Yeah.
Ron Harper?
Nope, it's Kirk Heinrich. That's
God
one
damn.
for me.
Fuck.
All right. Who is the number 1 in most field goals missed all time?
Most field goals missed all time for the Chicago Bulls? Is it Kirk Heinrich?
It's Michael Jordan.
Ah, fuck.
That's 2 for me. All right. Most games played. Number 1, Michael Jordan. Number 2, Scottie Pippen. Who's number 3?
Most games played as a Bull. It's not Horace Grant. It's not Dennis Rodman. Maybe John Paxson.
It's Kirk Heinrich.
Oh my God, dude, I'm done.
All
Over
right,
3.
5 push-ups. Let's see him.
This sucks. Ugh. All right, how do I? Okay, let's do this. Does this work? Okay.
Perfect. Beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Fucking midnight, and I'm doing push-ups because of Kirk Heinrich. This is bullshit.
God, buddy, good form.
All right, yeah, you saw that it was all triceps, man. That's all I got. I got no buys. All right, guys, we will be tuning in next week. This time, probably I don't know, figure the 23rd, 24th. We will keep you posted on our Facebook page. We love you all. Thank you so much.